In this video, I'm going to share with you why this might be the best KTF spool for bait finesse fishing. And this didn't come from me. This actually came from the Father of Bait Finesse. And recently I have gotten the opportunity to meet and fish and learn a lot from the Father of Bait Finesse. So let me break down this video. First, I'm going to talk a little bit background information about my meeting with the Father of Bait Finesse. His name is Sawamura Yukihiro. And then we're going to dive into what makes this a really unique spool out there for bait finesse fishing, especially if you want to do tournament bass fishing. So if you guys have been following my YouTube channel for the past about a year, I've been jumping into more of the bass fishing. I've been looking into why people use bait finesse in the first place, and that's really because of fluorocarbon. And as I dive deeper and deeper, and I'm doing a lot of research, I found that a lot of information about bait finesse were inconsistent. So after talking to Amir, who's the owner of Bait Finesse Empire, I found out that the Father of Bait Finesse, Sawamura Yukihiro, is fishing the Bassmaster Opens. And why not? Let's just get out there and meet this guy and learn more about bait finesse, like learning the origins and how you use bait finesse in a tournament scene. And the reason that this sparked this whole idea for meeting him is that I saw a video, right? And that was Jose Cinco from Cascade doing a live stream with Brian Latimer. And the things that they said, well, you guys can check out the video clip right here.
I want to talk about the BFS stuff. Man, I remember on my YouTube, people started talking about BFS. This is a couple of years ago. I was like, what are they talking about? I actually was really upset about it at first. I was like, it's the stupidest thing ever. I got a spinning rod. Why do I need a bait caster to do what my spinning rod does? I don't feel like anybody in the US has done a really good job of marketing and telling us what BFS is for. The BFS stuff is very good for people that fish. Maybe you fish ponds that have a lot of little fish in them. I feel, and I'm telling you my opinion, it's almost like a commodity product. It's a fun thing. It's supposed to be a different perspective on fishing. And somehow I feel like that messaging and that branding got lost when it was brought to the US. The point of the bait finesse system is to have a different way to fish places that are really tough. Now I appreciate the fact that BFS systems give us some variety and another choice to use for fishing.
Okay, so two things about what Brian Latimer said. And by the way, I am a huge fan of BLAT. And the thing he said about the industry failed to basically educate the fishing community of bait finesse. That is true. I feel like right now, bait finesse is pretty much ran by those who create content. And, for me being one of the pioneers of doing it, right? I started one of the earliest and I had the most videos about bait finesse, but I have it in a specific style. Like some of my early contents, I said, yeah, I know that bait finesse wasn't created for the style I've been portraying, but it kind of works, right? And I think that gave the impression to bass anglers, right? Tournament anglers in the US saying that this is an ultralight bait caster and it shouldn't be used for a bass tournament because you can't handle big fish. But that got me scratching my head because, the Father of Bait Finesse, he created a solution for his bass tournament fishing. So I met the guy and I learned a lot. And as one of the parting gifts, he gave me this guy right here, which is the KTF 2.0 size 30mm spool. And he is the owner of KTF. And essentially, right, KTF products are designed by his specifications for him to do bait finesse in tournament scene. So there's going to be a lot of crazy stuff that I'll be sharing with you guys in the near future. Right now, I'm still digesting a lot of them. And also, there will be videos coming with him in it. But there's a lot of work because there's some translation that needs to happen, right? But yeah, I promise you guys in the future, you guys will hear directly from the Father of Bait Finesse of how he defined bait finesse, power bait finesse, and how he uses it in a tournament to catch big fish, right? Anyhow, let's continue this video by talking about this specific spool here. Now, why would Sawamura say that this is potentially his best spool? It's all about versatility. So this spool here is very light, so it could definitely handle very light lures. But what I found from Sawamura is that he doesn't even throw lures light as what I throw and ultralight enthusiasts or bait finesse enthusiasts in the fishing community throw, especially for bass tournaments. Okay, but having the ability to throw light lures is important to him because sometimes that's what the fish want. They want some smaller profile, or he doesn't want to rig certain lures in with heavy weights. Right? He wants plastic, weightless, or very lightly weighted because he fish in cover. And I've been watching him fish, and a lot of times he used lighter weights than what people would use fishing in timber and rocks. It seems like he likes the fall action. Okay, so playing with some fishing stuff during my trip with Sawamoto, I also realized that using lighter lures or lightly weighted lures and properly rigged lures in timber, you could jiggle it through those different branches. And a lot of times fishing in these branches, right, you got to have that lighter presentation. And if you don't, you could snag and you could spook the fish as you go get the lure, or when you snap it off, right, you could spook the fish, and there you go. You lose your chance of potentially winning a paycheck, especially if you're a tournament angler. So this guy here, allows him to throw light lures, but also you could do it with a large variety of line diameters. You see, his definition of power bait finesse fishing is different than what you hear in the market. Okay, so it's mainly about line diameters, and he says tackle balance is very important. You need to use the right tools for the job. And so if you are fishing in cover, right, you got to have thicker line. And he used, depending on what reel, up to 20-pound fluorocarbon. Now, this reel here is not going to do really well 20-pound fluorocarbon because it's a small size spool. But that's why you have different reels, different spool size. There's 28, 30. This guy's 30, 32. He has a different spool that's deeper for versatile finesse fishing, right? But this guy here, he put up to like 16-pound fluorocarbon. It really depends on the structure and his needs. And given that it covers the most wide variety of line diameter, also lure weights, he feels that this is the best all-rounder, making it very versatile. And therefore, when I fished with them, his boat basically have mostly this spool here. Like he has a lot of Steez CTCs, not the limited edition, just the prior model, and he has it rigged up with different diameter lines, even PE line. He would have 1.5 go for his top water fishing. So really cool spool. Can't wait to play around with it. All right, so let's get to the juicy part of the video. Let's talk about the spool. Once again, this spool here weighs 4.5 grams without the micro bearings, or double layer micro bearings. And this is the IXA bearing. If you look at the inner side is the tinier bearings and outside is a little bit larger, but I'm looking at them and they look pretty micro to me. So it's really insane because this is a very light spool, 4.5 grams. And with this double layer micro bearing, expect the spool to start off very, very easily. And now, while the spool itself does come with micro bearings, you will have to buy one additional one for the side plate. Okay, so now you have two double layer micro bearings. And note that the height of the bearing is smaller than the stock one. So when you purchase this, it will come with an O-ring. And what you need to do is put the O-ring in first, then put your IXA bearing, then you put the clip on, and you should be good to go. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the braking system, the Kahen braking system on these KTF spools. Now, as you see, it looks just like Daiwa braking system. In fact, a lot of Daiwa stuff is inspired by KTF, which is Sawamoto's store, all his designs. But the braking here, it may look the same, but it behaves very differently. It's tuned in a way where it's actually acting like centrifugal braking. When you cast very, very lightly, it'll be braking very lightly and warning. And I mean, like, it's almost like not there. So you have to feather the entire time. And then when you cast hard, the brakes will kick in and apply brakes so that it would not overspool. And let me tell you why this is important to Sawamoto and his style of bait finesse fishing in a tournament scene. So bait finesse fishing is all about close quarter fishing for its efficiency. And what's really important when it comes to close quarter fishing, especially in Japan, is low trajectory cast that is super soft entry. You see, in Japan, several decades ago, they deemed bass is invasive, and they went towards a conservation route where people are supposed to kill the fish or eat the fish, and so the population of bass actually dwindled since they kind of went towards that route. And fishing in Japan is very, very tough. The fish are very, very shy. They do love to be in structure, and if you cast too hard and you spook the fish, you may not get the bite. So therefore, close quarter casting, low trajectory, soft entry cast is important. And the best way to do those soft entry is to have a very, very low breaking power so that you cast softly, right? And therefore, it makes it very tough for those who casting soft because you have to feather your spool all the way through, okay? And yeah, you guys probably have seen it. I played around with it with the size 32mm spool on my Daiwa Alpha's SVTW 800S. You guys check out the other video, but from my understanding from Sawamoto, this spool here is going to be a lot easier because it's a little bit smaller, therefore it's dispensing less line per rotation, so it allows me to master my game a little bit more. But anyhow, let's jump to the other aspect of this breaking module, right? When you cast hard, it breaks a lot harder. So when you're fishing, right, sometimes you may see a specific spot that you want to cast that's not close quarter. You have to cast a lot harder. So if you have a typical or normal reel that you have configured to low power breaking, potentially your cast might overspool when you cast hard for that a little bit extra further distance. So how the Kahen breaking system helps Sawamoto is that he does not need to change his breaking setting. It's just one time all the way through. So he could do his close quarter, soft entry cast, feather through, no problems. And then when he has to cast further, he'll cast harder and the breaking system will manage that. And I play with it and I am very impressed of how it's working. In fact, Daiwa really liked the concept, but this spool here is so advanced that not everyone could enjoy this type of fishing, right? And if you look at more of two Daiwa more recent reels, the SS Air and also Daiwa Alpha's BFTW, they have a breaking style that's really close. They designed it a little bit different because they want to behave a little bit more different, but the idea is very, very similar. And if you haven't played with it, I urge you guys to try it because it's really cool. It allows you to do the same thing here, but the breaking is different. Okay, it's not there yet. Like it's not as crazy as here, but it's definitely easier than this. Okay, but I know a lot of people say they didn't like the SS Air or the Alpha's BFTW because they don't have that crazy casting distance because for some reason people want to use bait finesse for casting distance. But again, bait finesse is not really for that type of fishing. If you guys want to do that, you guys could do that with a spinning setup. It's really for that close quarter fishing, right? And if you use that reel specifically for that type of style, how Sawamoto would use it, you would really enjoy those Daiwa reels. But if you want to take it to the next level, you got to use KTF stuff, especially if you're tournament angling and you want to have a very versatile reel. Bait finesse for Sawamoto is all about versatility. He wants to be able to reduce the amount of products or setups on the top of his deck so that he doesn't need to take too much time to make a decision when he pick up the next setup. So there you have it, folks. The KTF 2.0 size 30mm spool, potentially the best KTF spool out there for bait finesse fishing that KTF had to offer, right? And I play with this with my trips fishing with Sawamoto, and I have to agree, this specific size spool was a lot easier to use than the 32mm that's installed on my Daiwa Alpha's SVTW 800S. But after I learned a lot more and I get a better understanding of how Sawamoto fish bait finesse in tournament, it gave me a whole new perception of what bait finesse is and the potential it has in tournament fishing. So I can't wait to take this out and explore even more. And also I'll take out the 32mm one as well. What I'll do is basically this setup here going to be thinner line and the other one is going to be thicker line. Potentially that will be for my power bait finesse fishing. And I can't wait to validate all the things that I have learned from Sawamoto, and hopefully by creating those type of content, more American anglers who fish this tournament may have one or two bait finesse set up for their tournament arsenal. And again, this is not something that you're supposed to replace all your spinning setup, but you could use this to maximize your time on the water. So proper education is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help the fishing industry by creating these content, and hopefully, potentially, there's going to be companies out there that will want to help support the growth of bait finesse, especially in the tournament scene. That's my goal, okay? And I hope that'll come very soon. Anyhow, I thank you all for watching this video. Stay tuned as I play around with this, do some practice casting, because when I fished with Sawamoto, he was like, Jimmy, you're casting. Mada mada dene. And for those who know what that means, it's basically saying that you're not quite there yet with your casting skills. So yeah, I can't wait to put my thumb into practice, and I hope you guys follow me for those adventures. Thank you for watching The Fish Don't Wait. The bait finesse movement is here, and it's gonna grow. So stay tuned.